Newsom could pass a lie detector test on saying anything. Like there's a coldness inside that
he's
allows.
He's a sociopath. I think
That's
he's a snake oil salesman. I think he's a liar. And I think that he destroyed the state of California. Full stop.
Politics feels like a bad Netflix show that never ends. The same tired characters, the same boring plot twists, the same predictable drama, but then every once in a while something drops that makes even the most loyal fans stop and say, hold up, maybe the star of the show is not who we thought he was, and right now that spotlight is on Gavin Newsom. This is not your usual Newsom is a bad governor rant. No, this is about something deeper, because the mask is finally slipping, and it is not just conservatives calling him out anymore. When people on the left, yes, the left, start exposing Newsom for what he really is, that changes the whole story. Ana Kasparian from the Young Turks, a woman who built her career defending progressives, dropped the bombshell. She called Gavin Newsom what many have said for years, a sociopath. And when your own cheerleaders call you cold-blooded, you know the fantasy of future president is falling apart.
Has shafted Californians who have lost everything in wildfires. The fire in Paradise, California was absolutely devastating. An entire community burnt down.
So why does this matter? Gavin Newsom has been painted as the golden boy of the Democratic Party, the Hollywood face, the smooth talker, the guy who could sell water to a drowning man. They keep floating him as the backup plan if Biden collapses. He is supposed to be the savior waiting in the wings, but what happens when people realize the so-called savior is just another part of the problem?
Newsom, he's got some talent, I think, and charming for sure. But like, what is going on? Is he aware of that? I've asked him, and
you really find him charming?
Well, in a kind of reptilian way.
Look at the wildfires. Californians know the story. Entire towns wiped out, families losing everything, and there was Newsom strutting around acting like everything was under control, bragging about helicopters, water supplies, fire trucks, painting a picture of a state prepared for disaster. But when the flames came, reality hit harder than a freight train. Half the fire trucks were busted, hydrants were dry, dams destroyed. Californians were promised safety nets but handed a paper napkin instead, while people choked on smoke and watched their homes turn to ash. Newsom was busy polishing his PR image. That is not leadership, that is deception with a smile.
Devoted to winning people over.
Yes,
kind of like Bill Clinton was, and I think he's good at it. But I also think, someone said to me the other day, Newsom could pass a lie detector test on saying anything. Like there's a coldness inside that
he's
allows.
He's a sociopath.
And then the Paradise fire, the one that burned an entire community to the ground. Investigators traced it back not to chance, not to bad luck, but to Pacific Gas and Electric, PG&E.
The fire in Paradise, California was absolutely devastating. An entire community burnt down as the result of PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric, that's the utility company, refusing to upgrade their aging equipment.
Outdated equipment that everyone knew was a ticking time bomb. One rusty hook gave way, power lines crashed, and Paradise was gone. Here is the betrayal. Who protected PG&E, who shielded them from lawsuits and accountability? Gavin Newsom. Why? Because they are one of his biggest donors. While Californians buried loved ones and picked through rubble, Newsom was making sure the company responsible stayed safe. That is not just failure, that is selling out your people to protect your campaign cash.
Their equipment is over 100 years old. And so what started that fire was this metal hook that had eroded to the point where it broke. Power lines come crashing down onto dry brush. It sparks a fire and destroys an entire community.
And this is why Ana Kasparian saying Newsom is a sociopath matters so much. When Democrats who spent careers defending their team finally admit the truth, it means the lies are too big to hide anymore. But wildfires are only one chapter in his book of failure. Let us talk about homelessness. California is now ground zero for the crisis. Tents cover sidewalks, encampments swallow neighborhoods, families pushed out of cities because crime and filth made them unlivable.
Homelessness really exploded in Los Angeles. Like, it's always been a problem in LA.
Yep.
But it now touches every square mile of that county.
Billions have been poured into programs meant to fix this. Newsom loves to brag about compassion, about bold solutions, about progress, but the numbers expose him. Homelessness has skyrocketed under his watch. Not only did he fail, he made it worse.
Drug addiction, not just in LA, all across the country. Has there been any effort to do anything about this?
Zero.
And it makes me really angry.
The Sacklers are still billionaires.
Yep, exactly.
So ask yourself this: if a governor cannot stop his state from burning and cannot keep people off the streets, what makes him think he deserves higher office, slick speeches, fancy suits, dodging tough questions that wins applause at rallies, but it does not save lives? And we have not even touched the border. Remember when Kamala Harris was crowned border czar? Chaos, cartels, fentanyl, violence everywhere. And while Trump at least tried to push back, leaders like Gavin Newsom blocked deportations, undermined security, and shielded criminals, all in the name of compassion.
Unless we are willing to be honest, unless we're willing to tell the people trying to smear us, to silence us, that they can F off, nothing's going to improve. Everything's going to keep going down. Everything is going to continue devolving. In my lifetime, this country has only gotten worse, not better.
That is not compassion, that is betrayal. The ugly truth is Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, AOC, all the progressive darlings play the same game. It is never about results, it is always about image, optics, applause, lines. They live for the cameras but vanish when the real work starts and Americans are done with it.
I want real authenticity. I want real accountability. I want politicians who are willing to see that the policies they advocated for aren't working quite as they intended, and they're willing to recalibrate, admit that maybe they got something wrong.
Zoom out. This is bigger than one man. It is about a Democratic Party that mastered distraction while they fail on wildfires, homelessness, the border. They keep you busy with shiny objects. Remember Russia collusion dragged on for years and gave us nothing. Remember the endless gender debates shoved into every news cycle. It is all smoke and mirrors while you argue about pronouns on Twitter. Your paycheck, your safety, your community are ignored. That is their strategy: keep you distracted, divided, and blind while they protect their donors and secure their careers.
The Democratic establishment, the Republican establishment, there's a lot of similarities between the two.
They're in alignment.
Exactly. On the big issues that matter.
War and the economy.
War and the economy.
Biggest issues.
100%. They love to like distract us with shiny things.
Yeah, have a race war. Totally 100%. Fine.
Meanwhile, people like Newsom quietly audition for the presidency, hoping you are too distracted to see the trail of failure behind them. But people are waking up when progressives themselves say enough is enough, when even the left starts calling out the gaslighting. That is when the narrative breaks down, because the truth cannot stay buried forever.
They love to like distract us with shiny things.
Yeah, have a race war. Totally
100%.
Fine. Yeah.
All these like social issues. By the way, social issues are important. I'm not minimizing them, but the way that they're framed by the establishment.
Here is the bottom line: Gavin Newsom is not the future of America. He is everything broken about politics today. He is not a savior. He is not a leader. He is a salesman willing to sacrifice his own state to pad a resume for the White House, and the fact that his own side sees through him is the real story. So here is the question: how many more smooth talkers do we have to suffer before we demand real results? How many more times do we have to watch leaders put donors above people, optics above solutions, politics above lives, until accountability means something? Because here is the good news: the mask is slipping, and once it cracks, it cannot be put back on. Gavin Newsom mask is cracking fast, and if you agree America deserves better than a snake oil salesman in a tailored suit, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Does Newsom still have a shot at the presidency, or has he already burned his chances the same way California burned under his watch? Because at the end of the day, this is not just about him, it is about us, and whether we are ready to stop falling for the show and start demanding substance.